Attention readers and leaders, world-renowned author Jordan Wells has teamed up with Hip Hop News Uncensored for a special offer just for you. That's right. I want everybody listening under the sound of my voice to click on the link at the top line of the description box and make sure you go grab yourself one of his many books right now. I'm guaranteeing you this book, any one of these books, will change your life and the way that you see things. The link is at the top of the description box. Ready, set, go. Interested in promoting your brand, business, or talent on Hip Hop News Uncensored? Hit me up right now at advertise@hiphopun.com.
A person can change, when you inspire them and let them know that don't let your environment, don't become a product of your environment. Do something to change. So that's one of the reasons why I went into law enforcement. I didn't go into law enforcement to belittle and degrade people and plant drugs on them and beat them to the ground and take money from them. I went into law enforcement to make a difference. Yeah. And I can tell you unequivocally that I have made a difference within me wearing the uniform.
Right. So let's slow walk this thing a little bit and go back. You start off as a sheriff's officer. When was like the first day that you seen some corruption, and what was it? Can you take us back to that?
It's stemming back from about maybe 1997, 1998, when I was working with the drug task force. And of course, we was actually doing buy bus sales where we would take an informant and send him into a particular location, and that person would come back. This is a person that actually went out there and got himself in trouble, and to work the time off himself, he will actually come and work with law enforcement, and he'll set other people up who may be committing crimes, or if they know of any crime. So we would send that person into a certain particular location. That individual would come back to us, give us a description of the person. And of course, here in Fort Lauderdale, they call them the Raiders, but it's actually the drug task force, where they call them the jump out boys. So yeah. Of course, we storm that location and we identify the subjects and we take them into custody.
Okay, so when you began to see things happening that weren't supposed to be happening, things that you didn't like, and you began to, I don't want to say whistleblow, but you began to let people, your superiors, know exactly what's going on, what was the response to that?
They told me to mind my business. I said, what do you mean mind my business?
Yeah.
I said, you guys, and there was an area off of Sunrise and Andrews Avenue and 4th Street that I'll never forget the longest day I lived. And again, we were doing buy bus, and of course, this particular area it was notorious for illegal activity. We arrested several individuals who was actually selling drugs, and of course, we put them in a paddy wagon, and we got out and posed as undercover sellers. This stemming back from 1997, 1998, and of course, when we make the transaction with the subjects, at the end of the shift, you're supposed to turn all the evidence and the money in. Right. And of course, they didn't do that. They was keeping the proceeds. And I said, wait a minute, man, you guys, you got to turn that in, man. You can't keep that. And they said, well, you need to mind your business. I said, what do you mean mind my business? Everybody at the Broward Sheriff's Office knows that back in the days, I used to have a temper. I guess my temper may come from my dad, but my compassion and my love for the Lord come from my mother. So it stemmed back from 1997, 98, when I told these guys, you guys are wrong, man. And lo and behold, I guess it was at that point where they decided that, Hicks is not, he's not one of us. And, we need to do something to get rid of this guy,
Now, what else did you see besides them keeping money, planting drugs? What else could you show us that you've seen them do with your own eyes to try to cover up with your own eyes? What was the extreme?
Man, they was beating these guys. I mean, they were.
Sorry, man.
Hey, take your time, brother.
They was beating these guys with the PR-24, man, split their head wide open, and I'll never forget it. And most of them were black, they was black subjects, man. And I got so angry that anytime a Caucasian person came up to purchase drugs, I started knocking them out. And the commander, she came to me and she says, Ray, why do you hit them like that? I said, why are they hitting them like? I said, you guys didn't say nothing about what's going on with these people over here, but it's okay for them to do this. Yeah. I said, no, man, we don't operate like that. You know what I mean? We don't get on like that. That's not right. And you know, I'm the kind of person, I'm gonna voice my opinion. I'm gonna tell you face to face how I feel, and whatever the consequences at the end is whatever with me, you know. And of course, I always said something about it, man. It wasn't right.
Yes, sir. Now, you've seen the corruption going on. When did you realize, and pardon my language, these some racist motherfuckers in here? This is more than corruption. This is more than getting money. They're targeting, or did they, in your opinion, they're targeting Black and brown people by not only what they're doing, but how they're doing it. It was a target on Black people's back. Did you ever feel that way? And when you did, like, how was your reaction to that?
I became infuriated, because it goes back to what my dad said. You can't trust them. They're cruel and they're corrupt, you know. But I will say, man, there's a lot of men and women that wear the uniform that goes out and serve the community and take pride in their job. But some of these freaking clandestines, you know, that hide behind the badge and the gun, that go out there and belittle, degrade people, man, and do the things that they do, they shouldn't be in law enforcement. You know, I don't care if it's my mother, my dad, if he was living, my sister, brother, my kids, my wife, or myself, or whoever, man. You know, that's not what the job entails. The job is to get out there. It's the taxpayers' money that keeps them with the job, and therefore they need to understand that. You know, not get out there and just because they got a gun and a badge and think that they can just go above the law. You know, that's not the way to go. But anybody, even my publicist, she'll tell you that she spoke with my sergeant. His name is James Booker, and he told her, he said, listen, one thing about Ray is I give the shirt off of my back to anybody, man. And I never went against the rule, the policy and procedures to do anything that was illegal. I never did that. If I had to fight with anybody, I'd be the first one to fight with them, man. You know, but if I had to consult and help guys, you know, try and identify themselves and get their lives back on track, I did that as well. You know, you guys should see the videos that was created from my publicist, man, from people who were actually incarcerated, who are now doing incredible things for them and their families, where they give me nothing but just accolades and praise, you know, but I give all praises to the Father, you know. And I just thank God that I can be a positive influence in their lives.
Right. Now we want to definitely get into, you know, the case and you being set up. But I want to ask you first, were you a police officer, you know, around the time where they kind of launched the social media task force, and kind of tell us, you know, the listeners, how far that goes with police officers and things, monitoring social media for criminal activity?
Well, first and foremost, we didn't have the cameras back then, man. You know, there was no cameras. There was, you know, we had beepers, you know, we had phones, but we didn't have the social media platform now, where you see a lot of these insensible killers that's coming out, you know, where people's are videoing a lot of this stuff, you know, that goes on in law enforcement. Yeah, and again, it's just back then we didn't have that luxury, you know, and I think that, you know, they should have had some type of cameras back then, man, where you can record a lot of these different things that transpire, you know, because again, if it's me, if I'm doing something wrong and somebody record me, then they should report me. It's just that simple, man.